Hey guys. All right, we are going to be looking at the percent proportion today. This is in Unit 6. It is 6.2, so go ahead and write that up here, 6.2, so Unit 6, Section 2. Our learning intention is to use the percent proportion to find missing quantities. You will know that you are successful at this when you can write proportions to represent percent problems and when you can solve a proportion to find a percent, a part, or a whole. Okay, so our key term here is percent proportion in this section. So what does that mean? A percent proportion is a proportion, almost wrote that wrong, proportion where one ratio compares a part to a whole, so a part to a whole, expressed as a percent. Okay, so this is what that formula looks like. So we have the part over the whole is equal to the percentage over 100. Or you might learn it or see it as is over of equals the percentage over 100. Okay, so just knowing we're looking for the part, the whole, and the percent, it looks like this. The part goes here, the whole goes here, the percentage goes here. 100 will always be under the percentage. Okay, so we're looking for these three components. And you'll be given two of these, and then you have to solve for the third. Okay, so let's talk about how you would use your steps to solve for whatever variable you're missing. So steps to find the unknown value. Number one, you're going to identify what information is given. First and foremost, what's given to us and what do you need to find? So once you've done that, then you're going to determine whether you're looking for the part, the whole, or the percent. So after you have seen, okay, this is what I'm given, now which one of these do I need to find? Then you're going to set up your percent proportion. Okay. So then I'm going to write it out like this. So if I read through my problem and I'm like, okay, they gave me the part and they gave me the percentage, but I need to find the whole. I'm going to write out this formula and I'm going to fill in what I know. And then I'm going to search for the missing piece. Now, how you're going to solve that is going to be largely up to you. So if you remember in Unit 5, we learned how to do cross products. You were actually in one of the sections, you were given the option to choose your method. So you could choose cross products, mental math, or the multiplication method. That will apply here because if you notice, this setup looks very similar to what we learned in Unit 5. And so you could do cross products here. You could multiply this side by this side. You could do mental math because maybe it is set up in such a way that you can look at the information and you can say, oh, I know this multiplied by a certain number equals this, so I'm gonna multiply this number by that same number to figure out what it is. You might be able to do that. It's not always gonna be that easy. Or you might just do the multiplication method and you might just multiply since this is technically written as or it's written as a fraction, so that would be division. If I know part of it, I can multiply both sides to get that missing piece by itself to figure out the answer. So you choose what method works best for you. Sometimes you'll notice that one works better than the other depending on the problem. So most likely I'll just use the cross products method because I feel like that works no matter what type of problem you get. So let's look at the guided practice here. So our first question says, what percent of 15 is 12? So what do I know? First, I need to identify what information is given and what do I need to find. So what percent, what percent? So I know what I need to find already because it says what percent. So I am missing my percent. So I'm just going to start setting up my percent proportion. I know that 100 goes down here. I'm missing this number because it's asking me what is the percent. And so I'm just going to pick a variable and I'm going to say, let's just do P for percent. And then over here, what percent of 15 is 12? So of, if you can see this up here, sorry, of and is. So what percent of 15 is 12? So 15 is my whole number. 12 is the part. Think about this for a second. If you're reading this problem and you're like, okay, what percent? So I know I don't know the percent. And then you're like, gosh, but which one of these is the part and which one's the whole? Can a part of something be bigger than the whole of something? No. If I have a pizza and there are 8 pieces in it, and I say, what percent of 8 is 9? That wouldn't make any sense, right? Because I can't have more pieces of the pizza than are actually there. So if you're getting confused about which one goes where, remember your part cannot be bigger than your whole. So then obviously that means my 15 is going to be the whole and my part is going to be 12. But also the of and the is tend to give that away as well because the is will be the part and the of will be the whole. Unless in this case where it says is 5 or 0.5%, because obviously that's the percentage sign, which tells us that that was the percent. Anyway, I'm going to do some cross products here. So I'm going to do 12 times 100, which is 1200, equals 15 times P. And then I know from what I've learned in past units that to get P by itself, this is multiplication, so I need to divide 15 by both sides. So I'm going to divide 15 by both sides. And then 15 divided by 15 is 1, leaving me with P by itself. 1200 divided by 15, I would do some quick math, and I know that that would be 80. Okay, so my missing piece in my formula here was the percentage, and now I figured it out. So it is 12 or what is the percent of 15 is 12? It's actually 80%. Okay, so you're just finding what is missing. So now let's look at this one. What number is 0.5% or 0.5% of 200? Okay, so what number? And so that doesn't tell me for sure what I'm missing, but I can find some more information. So let's set up my percentage proportion. Let's see. Well, I have a percentage here, so I'm just going to write 0.5. You don't need to write the percentage sign on there. Okay, so just write whatever the number is. So 0.5 over 100. What number is 0.5% of 200? Okay, so the of is going to tell me that that's my whole. So now I am looking for my part. I'm just going to put X there. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the last one. I'm going to do some cross products. So I'm going to multiply X times 100, which is 100X. And then 200 times 0.5, if you need to use a calculator, some of these will get a little tricky, then you can. So 200 times 0.5 or 5/10 is really just saying that's half. So 200 times 5/10 is 100. And so now I need to get x by itself. Well, this is a multiplication problem. So to get x by itself, I'm going to divide by 100. 100 divided by 100 is 1, leaving us with x by itself. 100 divided by 100 is also 1. So x is 1. So the part and the whole, so one part of the whole of 200 equals 0.5%. Okay, so now we were able to find the percent, we were able to find the part. Now, as you can probably guess, this last one, we are going to be looking at the whole. So 150%, so the very first thing it tells me, I already know what my percentage is. So I'm going to start writing out my percent proportion. I know my percentage is 150%. Don't write the percentage sign, just write the number. So 150 over 100. 150% of what number is 30? Okay, so I don't know what the whole is. So let's make this W. And then I know the part is 30. So cross products, that again, this is my choice to do cross products. If you find a different method easier, feel free to do that method. Okay. 30 times 100. So I'm going to say 3,000 equals 150 W because I am doing cross products here. And then, of course, I need to get W by itself. So I'm going to divide by 150 on both sides. So that would be 100. So you could do some, this should be fairly simple for you to figure out in 150, 300, and then you can go 600, 900. But you can use a calculator if you needed to. And this would be W equals, I'm just going to move over here with my answer, W equals 20. Okay, so our whole number is 20. And why does that not make sense in this case? Because what's our percentage? Our percentage is over 100%, right? So that's going to help me to know that my whole number is going to be smaller than my part, which generally doesn't make sense. But if my percentage is bigger, then I do know that there is more of the percentage than there is of the whole. Okay, so let's turn it around. You're going to find the missing piece in these problems. So you need to follow the steps on the first page. So steps to solve. So when you are trying to figure these out, you're not coming to Mrs. Labine right away and saying, I don't get it, I don't understand, please help me. You're going to walk through these steps and you're going to see if you can figure this out first before you come to ask questions. Okay. So this is part of us advocating for our own learning, and we're doing that by utilizing the resources that we have first before going to Miss Labine, okay? So follow the steps on the first page to answer the question. So what percent of 5 is 3? 24 is what percent of 20? What number is 80% of 60? 10% of 40.5 is what number? 1/10% of what number is 4? 5/10 is 25% of what number? So you're going to see if you can solve these problems. Okay? All right, that is it for the percent proportion.